To begin, I started off by researching what a communique was because I had no clue what it was. So I'm guessing it would be important to know, so that's why I researched it. It is an official announcement or statement, especially one made to the media. In this case, the issue was in Ferguson, Missouri, to whether or not the Ferguson police officer, Darren Wilson, should be charged for the shooting of Michael Brown Jr. This happened on August 9th. So a little background info on the video, now onto the actual details. Part 1, specific connections. The first thing I noticed right off the bat was the connection said by Patrick Henry. Give me liberty or give me death. This line was stated in Henry Highland Garnet's speech to get the slaves engaged to set their mission towards their freedom. In the video, it wasn't physically stated, but it was presented in the statistics and by what the interviewees presented. The video states that every 24 hours, a black person is gunned down. That was said by a millennial activist of United. And one man said that no indictment will mean war. The next thing I understood between the two is that they both stressed that it's been many, many years since this has gone on. Obviously, it's a problem. Garnet stated that 227 years ago, the first of an injured racist came over, and he wrote his speech in 1843. And even now, in 2014 and 2015, this is still a problem. It's a constant fight for freedom in both situations, the video and the speech. But this is just not a case of decrease in the population. It's a struggle as a community, as a race, to achieve complete and total freedom. In the video, it's a sense of protest for the people in Ferguson, while Garnet is all about resistance. With both in hopes of freedom, this leads to the next point. Both in the video and in the speech, they happen at different times and places, but follow the same theme of equality. Blacks and whites are both human and share the same rights, well, should share the same rights. As the video says, the system is supposed to work for everyone, and it will fail once again for black people in America if the cop isn't indicted. The last connection I noticed was the whole strength in numbers concept. The point was brought up many, many times by Henry Garnet, stating that blacks were in 4 millions. In the video, I thought of Garnet drilling that in my head as I witnessed the protesters walking up and down the streets of Ferguson. Part 2, critical thought. Why and how the connections are significant. The connections between the two are very important because they show a trend that disrespect to the black race has been going on forever. It makes it seem as though nothing can be done. It made me think of what we talked about in class. When a black student walks into class, everybody knows they walked in. When that was brought up and I saw students nod their heads in agreement, I was actually shocked because I personally would never think such a thing would go on in their minds. But clearly it does. I don't think it's right at all. The black race is suffering and hurting to this day, and it's not right. The main points that I took from the two had to deal with equality, the system as a whole, and of course justice. The black race just wants equality. They don't want to be in a state of war with the police. They want to be treated just like everybody else. Back then it was to escape slavery and to be free, both leading to equality. Second point, dealing with the system. In the video, a woman states the system was made for everybody, every day, including Darren Wilson, which was the cop who shot Michael Brown. To this statement, I'll explain how it relates with Garnet. He wants slaves to resist their owners, but through the system, the owners should have no right to torture them and force harm on the slaves in the first place. Therefore, no slavery would even exist if everyone followed the system. In the video, blacks respect the system, but in the Ferguson situation, again, the whites did not. And again, it resulted in another death. That being said, the system is designed for everyone. The equality aspect is brought out once again. The last point, justice may be served, or else the issue of the blacks not being equal will continue, and the hardships will also continue. Part 3, well-developed ideas. While analyzing the two, I found major issues with the mayor and Garnet himself that will affect the overall outcome of what people think. The mayor, James Knowles, is a figure in the video who changes my perception of the video as a whole. His statements are not only wrong, well, seem wrong, but information from a higher power, such as him, being disrespectful in one way, proves that all the other interviewees stating that they do not actually like him have a reason to not like him.
The mayor of Ferguson is a bitch. He can't help us. He's not on our side. He's not for the people at all.
It does create a great deal of stress on the family, and we haven't had that really affect us too much.
The mayor says, it does create a great deal of stress on the family, but it hasn't really affected us too much. That statement right there is definitely disrespectful. It should affect who he is and what he does as mayor of Ferguson. Also, he's wearing regular clothing. To me, that's unrespectful and unprofessional. Or maybe he just doesn't want to be noticed in public for a town who seems like they don't like him at all. The mayor definitely contradicts his cause. Like Garnet says, if the scale was turned and black men were the masters and white men the slaves, every destructive agent and element would be employed to lay the oppressor low. The mayor only cares for himself, it seems like. The issues with Henry Highland Garnet. The way Garnet speaks, it is as though he is contradicting himself. I feel as though Garnet being in a slave's standpoint would be much different. He acts as though he's been through it all when he definitely hasn't, because he hasn't been a slave since he was like 10 years old. What he's telling the slaves to do is very difficult, and it's definitely better said than done. The way they both deal with things have flaws, and it affects the resulting thoughts of the audience and viewers. Personally, I agreed with everyone in the video except the mayor. In the speech, I respected the message, but he delivers it in a way that is tough to get results. Part 3, I Dare To. This has gone on forever and will be tough to end. As mentioned earlier, the issue started way before Garnet's time, and even Garnet, for us in 2015, has been just as long. In Ferguson, it was said that Michael Brown Jr. was just a catalyst of the problem that has been going on for way too long. Like Garnet, Ferguson was fed up with the problem and took a standpoint on the matter. Both different routes, but with the result of freedom and equality.